The year is 1890, and this is Steven Steele, and he just created a race across America, from San Diego all the way to New York, and the first one to make it wins a $50 million prize. And Steven is selling that pitch with confidence, saying that the Steel Ball Run will be the most amazing race the world has ever seen. A guy walks in and throws his money on the counter, wanting to sign up for the race. The vendor gives him a piece of paper where he has to sign up. He gives him his number, but notices his balls. Pause. Then we get to see his name. This is Gyro Zeppeli. And this guy seems really interested in his balls. Pause. And he's reaching to touch them. Pause. But Gyro activates his balls, pulling him in, making his legs give out. Pause. Gyro asks the vendor if he paid the full amount, and the vendor says he's 20 short. So Gyro accuses the guy of stealing his money, and the guy folds immediately to the intimidation. The vendor calls for the cops to arrest the man as Gyro Zeppeli walks out, but the crook still has a few words for him, saying that it was only a hunch he figured out he stole his money. He then takes a gun from one of the cops and aims it at Gyro until the cop takes the gun back and restrains him more. But Gyro is not taking that disrespect, and he tells the officers to let him go and gives him a gun, challenging the crook to a duel. And this is where we meet our other character, Johnny Joestar. Now the guy's trying to laugh off his threat. As soon as the sheriff arrives, the crook grabs the gun, but Gyro is already on him, throwing his ball into his arm, making the crook scream and grab his arm. Gyro tells him he's lucky he could have done worse, and suggests he finds a doctor. But the crook doesn't listen to his warning and tries to pull the gun on him, but his arm turns around and he shoots himself. Johnny is amazed by the way his balls work. Pause. And Johnny approaches Zeppeli to figure out how it works, but Zeppeli tells him to stay away because the balls are still spinning, and this causes Johnny to stand up. Johnny is amazed on how he was able to stand up and wants to learn more about his balls. Pause. Johnny steps in front of Zeppeli and asks him if he could
please let me touch it again. I can pay you.
Nigga, you gay.
Zeppeli leaves, but Johnny decides to take it by force. But Zeppeli uses his balls again and moves Johnny's hand to a support beam. Zeppeli is impressed by his upper body strength and then tells him he's not worthy of figuring out how his balls work and leaves Johnny hanging. Johnny Joestar was a prodigy in horse racing ever since his brother died. Johnny has always felt he had a special connection to the horse. All of that changed on one night. Johnny cuts in line for a movie, but this kid who was waiting in line calls him out for it. Johnny uses his fame to take the kid away, but the kid comes back and shoots him in his spine. This is how Johnny lost his ability to walk. In the present, Johnny crawls in and wants to sign up for the race, because he wants to figure out the secret to those balls no matter what. Zeppeli is feeding his trusty steed, but he spots Johnny getting dragged around by a horse, calling Johnny stubborn as hell. Now let's meet our other racer. This is Sandman, and he's entering the race by giving him an emerald. Better yet, he's entering the race using his own legs. I can finally get to the race now, good. It's the day of the race and everyone and their mama pulled up just to witness it. They got racers like Blonde Elvis Presley, the guy that looks like he was in the Thanksgiving dinner, Advil, and Dio Brando. Steven stands up and explains that the first stage of the race is only 10 miles, and the winner will get a 1-hour time bonus and $10,000, and concludes with that this is the opening day for the Steel Ball Run. And everyone's excited, dog. Even I'm excited. While everyone's already at the station or riding on a horse, they'll be riding in luxury to view the race. We cut to Gyro about to start the race, but Johnny comes onto the scene still getting dragged by the horse. Got this man Johnny looking dead. Johnny explains that he's going to enter this race no matter what, even if it kills him. And Gyro, impressed by his raw determination, gives him a hint, telling him to use previous knowledge of what he already knows about horses. This makes Johnny realize that the horse has grown fond of him. Johnny sticks his hand out to confirm his suspicion, but the horse does him one better and flips him onto his back. And in 3, 2, 1... the Steel Ball Run is in full swing as they all take off. And this man Gyro is taking the lead very quickly. His horse is definitely on something. Johnny's in between these two guys, but he maneuvers out of the way, leading these two to crash. And I know you just saw that fire animation. Gyro gets confronted by Advil, who's trying to knock him off the road. And it's almost working because his camel is giving very heavy hits. This causes Advil to take the lead while Gyro is still behind him. And just look how good the animation is when he pulls out his balls, no pause. Gyro throws the ball on the ground while Advil trying to take him out the race of life, but Advil runs into a cactus field, taking him out the race. That cactus field wasn't there before, and Johnny knows it. He knows that Gyro used his balls in some way, and this just makes him even more hyped to figure out what his balls really can do. I think we move past saying pause. While the race goes on, we see this guy standing in front of the starting line, who has obviously gotten here late. And this is Poco Loco. We cut back to the race with Gyro still in the lead, Dio right behind him. But Dio starts swaying side to side, getting closer and closer to Gyro. Dio swerves sways again, making Gyro lose track of him. But Dio is already on the other side of him. Gyro is confused how he was able to catch up so quickly. But Dio says his horse has a tell. Every time Gyro's horse sways to the left just a little bit, he loses momentum. And that's when Dio bursts forward. Dio keeps doing it until he takes the lead, leaving Gyro in second. But Gyro also has tricks of his own, taking his balls out and putting it in his horse's ass. This causes his horse to jump 50 feet in the air and break the bridge, which makes Gyro takes the lead again, leaving Dio in the dust. Johnny is learning more and more about his balls, watching him race. Recalling when he stood up is similar how his horse was able to jump so high. Gyro's balls must be able to enhance the body as well. We then cut to Poco Loco and a bunch of racers stopped in front of a big canyon. Well, except for one racer, Sandman, who jumps the whole canyon. Everyone's like, screw this, except for Poco Loco, who charges ahead and jumps the canyon. And Poco Loco's about to fall until Sandman tells him to throw a rope, and if he's lucky enough, he could catch something. And wouldn't you know it, he was able to catch something and now has a shortcut. We cut to Gyro turning into a bunch of trees, and the reason for it is because it would be a shortcut. But Gyro isn't the only one. Johnny also follows him with a bunch of other racers, and it seems that Poco Loco has caught up. Johnny says that the trees could hit him off their horses and take them out of the race, but Poco Loco closes his eyes and lets his luck decide, and Poco Loco is actually making it through the woods. Gyro sees this and decides to do him dirty, hitting him with 2 trees, knocking him off his horse. But Poco Loco isn't out of the race because he's getting dragged by his horse, and this surprises Gyro because there's no way this idiot survived that. Poco Loco soon charges forward and knocks Gyro away, taking the lead. But soon after, his horse starts getting shaky legs and loses balance. Gyro's smiling until he sees this dude sliding. Poco Loco takes the lead again, but Gyro just can't stand with that and tries to use his balls to mess up Poco Loco. But Sandman comes out of nowhere and moves the rock that was about to crush Poco Loco. This also puts Sandman in first place. Sandman decides to take another shortcut, leaving Gyro and Poco Loco to defend for first place. And Gyro pushes forward, taking the lead from Poco Loco. And right now, they're approaching the finish line. And at the finish line, there's a bunch of people cheering. This leaves Mr. Steel surprised that so many people came to watch the race. We then cut to Johnny, who's doing pretty well, but hold on, Dio is back, and he's using other racers as coverage from the wind. Dio appears beside Johnny, but Johnny won't let him in front of him, and charges forward, and Dio does the same. Sandman then jumps down and starts running full sprint to the finish line. Gyro is impressed that Johnny has made it this far. Then he starts talking about how a sail works, how the wind pushes the boat forward, and all 5 of them are neck and neck. Got us leaning in our chairs trying to figure out who makes it first, but the guy who takes the lead was Gyro. He used his balls to suck in air to propel himself forward, and with that, Gyro finishes the first portion of the race.
Cause the